So receiving is arguably one of the most important features in Fishbowl because everything sort of snowballs from there. If you get receiving wrong, then it's pretty bad, right? It will affect accounting and it will affect picking later on and maybe manufacturing later on. So in this video, we're going to take a look at all the features we can possibly think of in regards to receiving. Now let's talk about this default thing here for a little bit, because it's important to get the location right. And defaults help automate things, and sometimes they cause us to make mistakes, and sometimes they prevent us from making mistakes if we use them right. So let's talk a little bit about how the default location works. Okay, there's a couple different areas to look at. One, from the receiving screen, if we go to Tools, Module Options, we'll see this thing here that says Receive to the default receiving location rather than the parts default location. What is it talking about there? Now, if we go to the parts screen, we'll go to the parts screen now and click on one of these parts. And then click on this tab right here on the part screen that says Default Locations. We'll see that each location group has a default location that we can assign a default receiving location to. Now, the idea behind default locations is you have a big warehouse and you have enough space in this warehouse that you have the luxury of assigning a location, and a location would be a shelf or a bin or a section or a designated spot on the floor, right? That's a location in Fishbowl. It's a place in the warehouse, okay? A small place like a shelf or a rack. And so the idea behind default locations is you've got enough space in your warehouse that you can say, okay, this part always goes here, and this part always goes here. Now, if you're really crammed for space and you don't have that luxury, then maybe default locations isn't for you, and you shouldn't even use default locations, right? You should just put it where you have space. But anyways, that's the idea behind default locations, is you can assign the place and then it will automatically appear in receiving. Now, I think this can help or cause problems depending on how it's used. It should be a way to tell someone where to put it. You should not be complacent and just say, oh, I'm just going to let the software record automatically so I don't have to record anything. At the end of the day, the receiver needs to be accountable and be responsible for what he or she told the software, right? So the goal is for this to match where you actually put it, okay? All right. And these tools are just here to help you, for your workflow. Receive to the default receiving location rather than the parts default location. Okay, so I just showed you the parts default location. Now I'm going to show you the default receiving location. All right. So if we go to Setup Location, here, let me bring this up here. I went to Setup Location. And now over here on the left, we have a list of all of our locations. We've got the location group on the right and the location on the left. Okay, location group on the right, location on the left. And kind of a better example is if we actually had some locations that were a little more realistic, like aisle, section, shelf. If you set something up like that, I'll just auto create these. And you've got, locations, right? That is probably a little more realistic of what you have in your warehouse, is some labels on the racks, right? So let's see, in the LA warehouse, there is a receiving location, and the type is receiving, but default location for this location type and group is not checked. If we check that, that will be the default receiving location for that location group. If we go to SLC and go to the receiving location in SLC, we see that this is grayed out, default location for this location type and group. That just means that if the part does not have a default location, that it'll default to that receiving location when you receive. And then this little checkbox up here on the receiving screen, this says, even if you assign a default location to a part, receive it to the default location anyways. This is actually a really good feature in my opinion, because there's this feature on the transfer order screen called put away. And if you assign default locations to all your... Okay, so if you're still watching this, you're either an operations geek, or you're just letting it run in the background, or this was super helpful and you were glued to the screen the whole way. That's what we do here at Brando Consulting, is we help you decide what software is right for you. So don't hesitate to reach out. And please, please, please react to this video. That tells YouTube that people like this video, or if it was beneficial. Any type of reaction, YouTube says, oh, we'll let other people know about this video. So the commenting, please comment, subscribe, you know, whatever kind of reaction you can come up with, react to this video. And we greatly appreciate it. Click the link below, come to our website, fill out a contact form. I'm Lance, inventory software expert since 2006, and we have a lot of other videos like this for other software programs as well.